Okay, we are doing timing belt on a 2014 Cruze Diesel 2.0. We've got the car up on ramps. We have a jack with 2x4s holding the engine up. We removed the engine mount and we're about to remove this cover to get to the timing belt. Okay, now you can see the belt. You can see timing marks are here. There's also one here, and there's one on the crank also. Here we're taking the front engine mount off away from the block. It's required. It has the belt closed in totally. This is the fuel pump. It is not a cam, and you can see the timing mark if it'll focus. And there's the timing mark. Over here, the timing mark has a white dot, and there's a timing mark on the crankshaft too, and one on the block that lines up. Okay, fellas, here's the new belt. You can see it has a yellow line, and it's on the high point. That's the one that goes on the fuel pump. The next yellow line is also on the high point. That goes on the camshaft timing mark. And then the other one that goes in the crankshaft, as you can see, it's not on the high point, it's actually on the low point, and that lines up perfectly with the crankshaft. The mark on the crankshaft is marked opposite. It's on the high point versus low point. Okay, next thing we did is took the serpentine belt off. There's a tensioner down there. If you put a 15mm wrench on it and lift it up as though you're trying to tighten it, it will actually loosen the spring tension and let you pull the belt. Try to remember the routing because it can be fun to put back on. Okay, now you can see that whole engine mount comes off. You have to take this idler off so you can get to this last bolt. And if you just let all the bolts in, you can lift it up and put it on top, and you don't have to worry about getting them right back in the same order because they are different lengths. And now you can see the timing belt itself. And right there you can see the water pump. Drives from the back side of the timing belt. And not sure if you can see the timing mark on the crankshaft or not, but there is one there. It's lined up with a little notch. We'll get more of that later. Okay, we have the new idler and tensioner installed. We didn't really know or understand how this tensioner works. It is spring loaded, but it also is mounted on a slide. If you can see that little piece right there, it can actually slide back and forth. So I'm not certain how it's supposed to be. We could see where the other one was. We put it back to the same setting, and we're just going to see what we have. Not positive what the real process is for that. Kind of forgot about videoing, but timing belt's on, new water pump's on, starting to put the motor mount back together. Good to go. This is the next day. I'm editing the video and I noticed that I didn't take any video of where we had the motor properly in time to take it apart. There's no certain place it needs to be. You turn the motor over until you find a place where the timing marks on the fuel pump and on the cam are both touching the belt. For me, the crankshaft mark ended up pointing straight back in the car, and then the other two lined up, and then you put the belt on with those marks lined up, and everything's good. I thought that afterwards I could just turn the motor over several times till it lined back up to show you, and I attempted that, but after about 15 revolutions with a ratchet, we gave up. I wasn't able to find anybody else that took any better video or pictures. It seems like there's not very many 14 diesel Cruzes that have 100,000 miles on. The ones that did seem to have taken it to a dealer. So I tried to put this together to be helpful to you guys, but sorry I didn't do a better job. If you let me comments, I'll certainly try to help you through it, but it's really not that difficult.